Chart có tin đấy ta cho nên bạn con này tin một con này anh ấy rằng đấy tôi ra bắt bay bằng
Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. So let's wait for, I think, one or two more minutes while other people are joining. We can then start shortly. Thank you. Okay, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you are based. So I think we can start now. Thank you very much, everybody, again for joining day 2 of KASpaces Regional Forum on Sustainable Cities and Regional Resilient Communities, jointly organized by Conrad Andrew Foundation, based in Singapore, and ICLEI South Asia and ICLEI Southeast Asia. So we are in the day 2 of the webinar. Just before we start, I would like to quickly introduce again ICLEI and KAS. ICLEI is a global network of more than 2,500 local and regional governments who are committed for sustainable urban development. Jointly, this webinar is jointly hosted by ICLEI South Asia and ICLEI Southeast Asia, which is a regional network within the Asian countries. We are basically supporting cities, local governments around the region to improve tangible improvement in the region and sustainability through local initiatives. We also have Ms. Megha Sharma. She's a program manager from KAS. May I request Megha to kindly say a few words on KAS?
Thank you, Keshav. Firstly, a warm welcome to the Regional Forum on Sustainable Cities and Resilient Communities. We are really happy to be here. As whoever doesn't know, Konrad Adenauer Foundation is a German political foundation, which is associated with CDU, which was the current chancellor or the outgoing chancellor, Angela Merkel. We are really happy to be here. We have completed 10 webinars across South and Southeast Asia. And after that, we're very happy that in the yesterday and today and tomorrow, we'll be able to get the best practices of the region and see how the region can move forward, because I believe that the pandemic has really affected the cities a lot, and we really need to go forward. And as Asia and the cities in Asia are facing the same challenges, we thought it'll be very insightful and interesting and also helpful that if we share our best practices. And I'm really grateful to ICLAI South Asia and Southeast Asia for bringing such august group of gathering, which can really, we can really come together to see which is the best way forward. So for today, we have a very interesting lineup of speakers and a very interesting sessions on affordable housing, holistic waste management, and yes, so I think we're really excited for these two sessions, and we hope that we can get the best way forward for the region as a whole. Thank you, Keshav, and I'm really looking forward to the discussion today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Megha, for your support and all the cooperation that you extended to this series of webinars we had in the 10 countries over the past few months, and also support to this regional forum. We're extremely delighted and honored to have your support. Now moving forward, I would like to quickly take you through the agenda for the 3 days. Yesterday was the first day of the regional forum. We had the opening session, then keynote address from Dr. Rajesh from Government of India. Then we had first technical session on internal migration, and then second session on urban climate resilience. Then we had open forum discussion with the participants, and then closing remarks and vote of thanks. So that was the first day of the webinar. Now today, second day of the webinar, we have a recap of what we have learned yesterday. Then there are a few polls which we will try to understand learnings from the of the participant from the yesterday session. Then we'll have a keynote address from Government of Bhutan. Then third session will be on affordable housing, which will be kindly moderated by Ms. Avantika, Senior Manager, ICLAI South Asia. Then we will have a technical session 4 on holistic waste management, which will be kindly moderated by Ms. Soumya Chaturbudala. She is a Deputy Director in ICLAI South Asia. Then again, likewise, we'll have an open forum discussion for where all the participants and attendees will get opportunity to share their ideas, feedback, or if there's anything that was not covered in the sessions, then we will have a closing remarks. Tomorrow, again, we will have a recap of day 2, then keynote address, then again we'll have 2 sessions. First is on sustainable urban transport, and second is on integrated urban water management. So these are the 2 sessions lined up for tomorrow. We request all the participants who have joined today and yesterday to also join for last day, for the third day of the webinar, so we can have an informative exchange and learning from among all the participants. This is the agenda for today. As you can see, we have 2 sessions lined up: affordable housing and holistic waste management. These are the housekeeping rules and reminders for all the speakers. Kindly keep your videos on while you are speaking during your respective sessions. And also all the participants are requested to follow all speakers' speech input without any interruption. You are also requested to kindly raise hand icon during the Q&A session. If you have any specific question that you want to ask any of the speakers, kindly click on raise hand. So we'll unmute you and then you can speak. Please ask only a specific and concise question to the speakers in the interest of time. And also closing session, like I said, in the end, we'll have open forum discussion where all the participants and speaker attendees can share their general questions and observations regarding the webinar. You can also use the chat box for any questions or comments to share with us. And please note this event is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube and Facebook. And by participating, you are giving a consent to record and live stream. And also one important information, this whole session will be in English language, but interpretation is available in Bahasa and Bengali. So on the bottom of your screen, there is a button called interpretation. You have to click on your respective language, whichever translation you want to hear, and you can follow that through. So these are some of the rules and reminder housekeeping rules that I wanted to inform to all the speakers and participants. So just in terms of recap of what we have learned yesterday. So I will spend for 3-4 minutes here. So what we have learned yesterday in the opening session, we learned about the SDG introduction. We have learned how important is sustainable development goals for especially for the whole Asia Pacific region. And we have also seen some statistics around it where we are currently stand globally and also in the Asia context on terms of target achievement and what are the issues and challenges. That is what we have heard in the opening session and also introduction from all the participants, from the organizers. Then we had first session internal migration where we had heard from Ms. Mokta from CPR about key insight into social and economic basically dimension of migrants in India and what are the challenges they are facing, especially during the COVID-19. So that was quite informative. Then we have heard from Dr. Munju Gurung from Nepal on the situation of internal migrants in Nepal. That was quite insightful. And also then we have learned from the South Asian level dynamics and complexities around internal migration and how countries are grappling with the challenges and adopting new and innovative good practices. We had Dr. Nishal Pandey, who has kindly shared his opinion also as well. So that was a quick summary of basically internal migration session. Then eventually we had session 2 on urban climate resilience. There we heard from Dr. Manjula first from Sri Lanka on his research outcome on how capital cities of South Asian countries are facing land use change and temperature and rainfall pattern change and how it is impacting their economy. So that was a quite good, insightful learning yesterday from Dr. Manjula presentation. Then we have heard the importance of sustainable and energy efficient building design, guidelines and approach from Ms. Garima from Nepal. Then in the end, we heard also from Scale Solution, which is an entity based in Philippines, community-based organization. So how they are engaging citizens and public and private sectors in climate actions with a mindset change. So we have heard interesting insights and the community-driven initiatives that is happening in Philippines. So we had Ms. Carla from Philippines who talked about it. So these are the quick highlights of day 1 in the regional forum. I'm sure it was a quite good learning opportunity for all of us, and we look forward for day 2. So without wasting time, just before we go into the sessions, we have one quick poll for all of you. I will launch a few questions and you are requested to kindly respond to those questions by selecting one option. So we'll see how well we have learned from yesterday's sessions. So the first question we have, how many total SDG goals, targets, and indicators are there? So we have 4 options, 17 goals, 189 targets, 250 indicators. Like you can see, there are 4 options. I request all the participants to kindly provide your responses, feedback, select one answer out of these 4 options. So we'll wait for a few seconds while everybody respond. I request and encourage all of our participants to kindly participate in this poll. Few more seconds left. Uh, Whoever has not participated, kindly provide your responses. So SDG is a basically Sustainable Development Goals, which was adopted in year 2015. All right. So I think I'll stop here. Let's see what's the results. So we have basically 51% people are saying option 2, which is 17 goals, 169 targets, and 230 indicators. So that is correct. Option 2, option B was a basically correct answer. 17 goals, 169 targets, and 230 indicators. Thank you very much again for participating in poll 1. Now we go into poll 2. So the question is, what strong municipalities can deliver to help internal migrants? So we have 4 answers. I request all the participants to kindly provide their responses. Pick one correct answer. And this is based on the yesterday presentation that we had from Ms. Mukta Naik from CPR, from Center for Policy Research. She has talked about the what are the important things that strong municipalities can deliver, can utilize as a tools and approach to help internal migrants in their own countries. I request everybody to kindly provide their feedback. Select one answer out of these 4 options. So we have another few seconds left. I request everybody to kindly participate. We still have only 50% people participated in this poll. Okay, so I think we'll end it here. So basically, the correct answer is the third option, which is clustered Anganwadis, cash incentives, and access to institutional deliveries, and the mobile van services. So the option 3 is a correct answer. That is what has been emphasized yesterday in the presentation by Mukta Naik. Although there are other options also given, but it's not that those are wrong, but the option third is the correct and most appropriate response to this question, which most of the participant can able to recollect. So we have basically 34% people have correctly answered this question. So thank you very much for again participating in this poll too. Now we move to the final question of this poll 3. So question is, what constitute climate responsive buildings design? So there are 4 options again. I request all the participants to kindly provide their feedback response. And this is just to give a background. This is on the basis. This is from the basically presentation made by Ms. Garima yesterday in the urban climate resilience session. She talked about the various approaches and the importance of climate responsive building design, and what are the elements that we can implement important for designing climate responsive building design. So the options are indoor comfort, energy efficient design, sustainable approach, climate resilient building design. This is first answer. Second is sustainable transport, energy efficient design, sustainable approach, climate resilient building design. This is option 2. Option 3 is indoor comfort, nature-based solution, sustainable approach, climate resilient building designs. Option 3. Option 4 is solar park, energy efficient design, sustainable approach, and energy efficient street lighting. So these are the 4 options. I request participants to select one most appropriate response to this question based on the learnings that we had yesterday in the urban climate resilience session. All right, so then we'll end it and we share our result. So basically 34% people have selected option 1, which is indoor comfort, energy efficient design, sustainable approach, and climate resilient building design, which is a correct answer. The first answer is a correct. Thank you very much again, everybody, for joining these polls and providing your responses, participating in this poll. So now, without much further delay, we have Mr. Kado Jangpo. He's basically director from Department of Local Government in Government of Bhutan. May I now request Mr. Jangpo to kindly turn on his mic and also his video, so you can give your keynote remarks.
Thank you. I think I've shared my couple of slides. Are you going to project my slides, or should I project from here?
Yeah, you can project it yourself, no problem. Or I can do it once in a little, no problem.
Okay, I think I'll request you to do it.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so good morning, and thank you ICLEI for the invitation. I'm very humbled, and it's a great privilege for me and Bhutan to have this 15 to 20 minutes given to me to explain or share some experiences from here in Bhutan, especially on sustainable urban development and community resilience. I mean, there are so many areas where experts already had made presentations, and they're going to make today and tomorrow. But I thought probably some stark examples from Bhutan. I'll just share 2 points and how they contribute to self-reliant, sustainable urban development and community resilience. So number 1, I think I'll just talk a little bit of the planning system here in Bhutan, and then next I'll go to touch a little bit on the importance of community vitality and its contribution to the sustainable urban development. So can you just go to the next slide? So in Bhutan, I think most of the participants here would be already knowing we cannot shy away from talking on the concept of gross national happiness, especially when you're talking about the planning system. But of course, I mean, gross national happiness is an alternative development approach. If you have all know, I think there are so many alternative development approach similar to gross national happiness. For instance, degrowth globally, beyond BB practice in Ecuador and Bolivia. Then there's Ubuntu in South Africa. I think it's almost similar. The only difference with the concept of gross national happiness is that here in Bhutan, this concept is enshrined in the constitution. In fact, if I go on quoting the constitution in the Article 9, if quote, the state shall strive to promote those conditions that will enable the pursuit of gross national happiness, unquote. So this is actually enshrined, and then in Bhutan we practice it through the 5-year plans, through policy discourse, and other other development visions all carry this particular concept of gross national happiness. And especially in these COVID times, this concept, at least for Bhutan, has proven to be very useful in terms of dealing with not only with COVID situation, but also on all other aspects. For instance, the GNH, or the gross national happiness, is a holistic conceptual framework, and then we actually take care of 4 pillars. Of course, number one is the socio-economic development. Then there's the environment. We look at good governance, and then cultural preservation and promotion. These are 4 pillars. But beyond that, how do Bhutan actually regularly measure this particular gross national happiness? So we do it through a periodic survey at national level, trying to measure the happiness and well-being of the population. In doing so, we actually look at 9 domains, and the 9 domains, if I am to just read it, it covers health, governance, living standard, education, culture, environment, psychological well-being, and the last one is time use and the community vitality. So that's where I thought I will touch a bit. Probably it might be useful to share in this forum. Now, coming back to this particular table, so the Bhutan practices the 5-year plans, or follows 5-year plan, and then currently we are in the 12 5-year plan, and the 12 5-year plan, of course, national goal for all the 5-year plans would be the gross national happiness. But then below that, for the 12 5-year plan, the government has particularly focused on achieving sustainable society through enhanced decentralization. In doing so, in the 12 5-year plan, the Royal Government of Bhutan has allocated 50% of the total budget to the local government. So in the 12 5-year plan, we have so-called NKRA, which means National Key Results Area. So we have 17 National Key Results Area. It is almost consonant with the 17 SDG goals. It is almost consonant. So we also have 17 National Key Results Area. And then we have 10 Local Government Key Results Area. So below that, I mean, all activities and programs should align with the key results area. And of course, we also have almost around 160 to 70 key performance indicators, which actually will measure all these the key results area. So this is how I think basically 12 5-year plan, the logical model is this is how we follow. The ultimate goal is actually to achieve the gross national happiness. Can you just move to the next slide, please? Okay, just to give an overview of the local government here in Bhutan. So I would continue with my previous slide. So for the local government in the 12th five-year plan, almost 50,000 million miltam or the local currency is for the capital outlay. And as of April 2021, almost 30% of the 50,000 million has been spent by the local government. In fact, when you compare with the central government, the spending is much higher by the local government, especially in a time when COVID did not allow a lot of activities to go ahead. Of the 50,000 million, 39,000 million has been allocated to the local government as per the resource allocation formula. So basically, I mean, resource allocation formula follows something like population, poverty, the size of the local government, etc. And another 29,000 million has been allocated for common minimum infrastructure. These are compulsory activities which local government has to carry out. The other salient features of the financing here in Bhutan is 99% of the local government financing is done through the central block grants, and the own source revenue is very negligible. In fact, it's within 1 to 2%. So no local government has a own source revenue beyond 2% of the total outlay that is being dished out by the central government. In fact, in Bhutan, so we have largely just now we have 205 rural local government, 4 urban local government, and 20 districts. The variation within the local governments are quite huge, even for the urban. So of the 4 urban local government, if I just share, the smallest population, almost one urban local government would have around 20,000 population to around 150,000 population. So these are some of the variations in the local government, which makes it difficult to implement activities leading to sustainable urban development. Next slide. Okay. Okay, so what are the issues in planning system in the local government, especially in the urban local government? One key issues that we have found is, especially in the urban local government, in the urban local government administration, so we see a lot of people with technical skills or expertise base. For instance, a lot of engineering staff, a lot of urban planners, a lot of geo specialists, and so on and so forth. I mean, while we have an elected functionaries or the decision makers who are by and large non-technical or the general pool of professionals. So in the planning system, usually what we found was it's very difficult to balance between the felt need expressed by these elected local functionaries versus the expertise-based planning, and the conflict and confusion. And we have found out that it's very difficult to find out a middle path. And until we are able to balance between this felt need and expertise-based planning, um, I our thinking is that this may actually not help in coming up with a sustainable urban development. The other thing here in Bhutan, as I've already showed in my earlier slides, so here we have a ceiling-based plan. Because largely the revenue is, or the money capital is, capital financing is largely dependent on the central government dishing out the grants. So therefore, local government has to do a ceiling-based planning, which ultimately affects innovation and creativity in terms of climate adaptation, or be it in terms of the alternative energy, solar energy base sort of things coming up, because it's a ceiling based plan. So there is a need to look at aspirational plan versus ceiling-based plan. Should we allow the local government to plan the way they want it, and then maybe later on we could discuss on the availability of the financing. The third one, I think, also, I mean, in the urban centers, especially in the capital and the nearby the urban local government. So there are a lot of key influential people living in these urban communities, and therefore most of the requirements or the development in the urban sector sometimes are swayed or influenced by this group of people, and correctly termed as elite capture. So elite capture versus community participation. In fact, in Bhutan, is quite unique in the sense a lot of urban population. I think in the internal migration you all would have discussed. In Bhutan, largely the urban residents uh, come from from all over the country, and the record or uh, uh, data on these migration internal migrations uh, is none at the moment. I mean, there's no administrative record of how many people are coming into the city, for instance. Therefore, I think the concept of making the community participate in the development of the urban centers is not happening at the moment. Therefore, it's largely driven by the the local government administration, and this, I think, seriously impacts or impedes the sustainability of the urban centers. In fact, even the voting here in Bhutan or in the urban cities are based on civil registry. So, for instance, in the capital Thimbu, so we have almost over 150,000 people living in the city, but the voter populations is little over 20,000 only. So these are some of the issues. And my point here is, I think because of this elite capture, the developments are one way. The other thing, I think it's almost same, self-reliance. If there is no public participation or community participation, then the issue of self-reliance or the ownership of the public goods is very minimal. Nobody cares about the public goods, be it the roadside drain, be it the public toilet, be it the whatever public goods that is there. So I think the ownership is not being taken up by the residents of the city, especially because decisions are being made in isolation. Can I go to next slide? Okay, it's almost the same issue that I've talked, bureaucratization versus democratization. One aspect that I've already talked is between the residents of the city versus the administration. Here, it's within the local government administration. So there's an elected local government functionaries, and there is already a set of bureaucracy, and that issue is also there. It is also, I think, it must be also prevalent in the region. So basically, what this happens is, it really impacts the delivery of public service to the residents, because the state administration or the local government administrations is not only bureaucratic, but they have become authoritarian, because basically the residents are not involved in the decision making. Next slide. Okay, this is one aspect. So I think the public or the population of the local government elect their representative who goes on to make the decisions in the local government. But here in Bhutan, over the last, so currently I think the third local government election is happening, in fact. So we have two local government election. that has, so 10 years actually has gone by. And then what we have found out is, firstly, the bureaucratic administrations were authoritarian, but now even our elected the machineries have become authoritarian. And purely my thinking is, I feel because there is, we don't have a system whereby the system involves the community living in the local government to make decisions or to plan whatever they want. So maybe because of that, I think it is becoming a little bit authoritarianism, and this severely impacts the delivery of public services. Next slide. Okay, so what is the proposal? So there's so the state can be democratized by formalizing customary institution. So in Bhutan, we have a system called Zomdu. It's a community engagement platform. This is not only historical, I mean, it has been there since time immemorial here in Bhutan. So this is actually a Bhutanese form of democracy reflecting the best of historic culture and local practices. Usually it happens in the open ground. It's an open forum for participation. And nowadays, usually we invite one adult member from every household, but it's not restricted. Any number of members from the households living in the area can participate. Usually this system allows for a negotiated settlement, and a lot of civil cases in the villages are even today settled through such a mechanism as Zomdu. If you really attend this Zomdu, it also clearly shows us that this is an institution of grassroots measurement and understanding of power. Even here in such Zomdus, elite capture does happen, but now with more and more populations being educated, the elite captures things are minimized. Next slide. Okay, so here in Bhutan, from the third local government, which will be instituted, so the election day is on 22nd December. So on 23rd, probably the Election Commission of Bhutan will declare the results. So by January 2022, we will have the third local government. So here in Bhutan now, we have formalized or institutionalized this Somdu by the Ministry of Home and Cultural Affairs. So we have already made a protocol as to how this Zomdu should happen. And this protocol is already in circulation. We have piloted, and soon the cabinet will issue an notification saying that this particular the how to conduct Zomdu and all these things should happen. In fact, Zomdu and community engagement platform almost similar. So I've just taken a clip from the website of the ministry. In this community engagement platform, what actually happens? For the last 2 to 3 years, we have been piloting this particular aspect of Zomdu. And what actually happens in this Zomdu is usually we do a community scanning, what all are there, what needs to be done. We also made it compulsory that at that they should have a calendar of festivals, calendar for whatever so each local government are now supposed to have a calendar of their own. In that we try to look at how much internal migration happens, what are the key issues that is happening. In fact, we have also a component called happiness tree. So all this, the details, I think you can find it in our website. And from the third local government, we have formalized this so-called Zomdu. Now all local governments are supposed to conduct community meetings before the local government meeting actually happens. So it's a prerequisite. Before the local government meeting happens, the community meeting should happen, and by and large 70 to 80% of the agenda should come from these community meetings. And we are hoping that this community participation or the people's participation in the development of their own affairs would definitely contribute towards making a self-reliant, sustainable local government, as well as to make the community resilient, not only to COVID, but other future shocks that would happen in the near future. So with this, I hope I have been able to make some sense, sharing some experiences from Bhutan. So once again, I'd like to thank ICLI for giving me the opportunity, and thank you all the participants for listening to me. Thank you, and Katinche.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kadu Jangpo, for your excellent inputs and keynote speech. It was quite informative, especially the aspect that you brought about the sustainable urban development planning and the happiness planning approach, and also the Dongjiao and local government development planning approach. And also, I would like to emphasize on your department, core values on the good governance, decentralization, community participation. So these are the core values of your department. We have seen over the years how well your department has engaged with the cities in training, capacity building, and also, promoting transparency and accountability, and building, capacitating the local government to take in strong and strong commitment on sustainable urban development planning, which is also reflecting in your vision statement, which is a democratic and accountable local government built on the principles of good governance for quality public services. So we are really privileged and honored to have you in this today. And thank you very much again for your excellent presentation and keynote speech. And we look forward for your continuing guidance and cooperation in the future. Thank you very much, sir, again for your participation. So I think then without further delay, we'll move into the next session, which is first session of the day, which is on affordable housing, which is again, this topic has been emerged as one of the key sector and focus area for during all of our 10 series country webinars. And now we have Ms. Avantika Arjuna. She's a senior manager from ICLI South Asia, who will kindly moderate this session. So may I now request Ms. Avantika to kindly take over. Over to you, Avantika. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kesha. Hello, everyone. I'm Avantika Arjuna, your moderator for the next session. Before moving forward, I would like to thank the director from Department of Local Government, Ministry of Home and Cultural Affairs, Bhutan. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. And also, I would like to bring out the points which you just stressed upon, that it's the people who make the cities and not the buildings. And the example which you gave of involvement of community in decision making, I think that is a very important and successful example from which we all as different countries, we have a lot to learn from the Zomdo system which you just showed upon, which involves community engagement. And I think that's a great example that we all need to learn from Bhutan. Secondly, you also mentioned about allocation of higher budget for local governments. I think that's also a very important step for successful development and sustainable development of local governments and all the cities. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your keynote address. Now, moving forward, as Keshav already mentioned, that the next session is on affordable housing. So I would welcome you all in the third technical session of the day 2 webinar of the KAS web series. And as you all know, housing is a basic minimum bare need of every individual, every household, every family, and so on. But when we look at the housing scenario today, especially in the Asian countries, the statistics which we look at, it says that millions of affordable houses are still needed in the years to come. I think owing to the aspects such as urbanization, migration, yesterday we had a great discussion on internal migration and issues such, so these kind of issues do make us to ponder upon that housing scenario has become very poor, especially in bigger cities. The demand is yet not fulfilled, but the supply, it continues to increase, maybe due to different reasons, say urbanization, migration. Secondly, also the aspects such as income and high land prices, government policies to meet the housing demand, and aspects such as affordable housing, transport, etc., also play a major role when we talk about filling the housing needs. And I think as we move forward today into the session, we would try to ponder upon these aspects and to find out what the governments and what the other cities or other countries are doing to promote affordable housing in their countries. Today, we have very experienced and learned representatives from Philippines and Sri Lanka to present their views upon the initiatives and the innovative solutions which they've been taking. And I think it will be a very interesting session today. Moving forward, I would request Mr. Joseph Esplana, who is City Planning and Development Coordinator from City Government of Legazpi, Philippines. Sir, I would request you to share your thoughts on affordable housing. And for each presenter, I would request if you can keep your presentation for up to 10 to 12 minutes, and then we can have some round of questions in the end. Over to Mr. Joseph Esplana. Please, you may switch on your camera and mic.
Morning, Ms. Avantika.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that introduction. So we are pleased that we are among the identified cities throughout the region that was identified to share our learnings and the things that we are doing in our place. And hopefully at the end of this presentation, there will be some lessons that will be learned. So again, thank you very much, Clay, KASpaces, for this opportunity. As a preparatory statement, I'd like to state that this presentation has already been presented by our city mayor in another forum under UN Habitat, and I'm just representing it to this body. And hopefully for some of those who were able to see this already or view or have listened to the presentation of the Honorable Mayor, will still reflect on some concerns that we are facing at the present moment. Okay, so this is the title, From IFs to HOs. So informal settlers to homeowners. And again, our city mayor, as shown in the slide. Next, please. A short information about Legazpi City. The name Legazpi is taken from the Spanish navigator, Adelantado Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. So unfortunately, we're not able to show the map of the region. But if you are aware of the Philippines, we are at the middle part of the Philippines, the center of the another region, Region 5, Bicol region, about 534 kilometers south of Metro Manila. So we have a total land area of 16,165.43 hectares. We're just a small city. And the good thing is that we are accessible by almost modes of transportation, air, sea, and land. Next, please. Some demographic information, Legazpi City. In 2020, the Philippine Statistics Authority under the National Economic Development Authority has counted 209,533 persons in our place. This is our daytime, our regular population. At daytime, addition of 25 to 30,000, being the regional center and one of the educational centers of the region. So the population growth rate is 1.35. This used to be 1.87. So meaning our population program is working. So we have a total number of households. As our own count, the City Planning Development Office under the RCBMS, this is the community-based monitoring system which is adopted by the Philippine Statistics Authority. So we did our own count at 43,512. And of that figure, 5,371 or 12.34% are informal settlers. So of that figure, 67% is within the urban center of Legazpi, which is only 5 to 6% of the total land area of the city. So in estimating, which is part of our city shelter plan, the figures that we come up after deducting the number of housing stock available, we still arrive at 2,168. Next, please. So some information, though jokingly, but this is actually happening, the kinds of danger and hazards, calamities that we face in our city and the region in general. These are only 5 of the listed. So we are just jokingly saying, name it, we have it. But we are ready. We have our local climate change adaptation plan and disaster risk reduction management plans in place. So for flooding, 30,109 families are always in danger. Storm surge, 12,000 in the 19 coastal barangays of the city. Sea level rise, maybe I believe that all the coastal areas are already experiencing this. We have 3,134 families affected. Lahar, this is because of Mayon volcano. We have one of the most beautiful, and for those who are already familiar, or this was one of the 7 major figures throughout the world before, as a perfect cone city, as a perfect cone Mayon volcano. Then we have these figures on the upgrading needs. So these are the issues and concerns that we continuously take care under our city shelter plan. We have a 10-year sister city shelter plan, and these figures were taken from that document. Next, please. By the way, this presentation is ready for distribution to those who are interested. So in our city, we have 23 housing projects, both public and private, with 5,020 units and 88.706 hectares. The resettlement area is maintained by the local government unit. We have 6 divided into 3 categories: lot only 3 areas, house and lot 2 areas, and house only 1 area. And the socialized housing project, this is one of the, I don't know if it is still considered one of the national first activity on house bond flotation conducted. This is a successful undertaking. Those who invested got their share already. Then land banking, we always continuously appropriate fund annually from the local funds to buy lands for resettlements. Then we have the pre-patent. This is a national government undertaking. We have 2 areas already. One area which we call Barangay Sabang or Village, Sabang Village, with 90 lots. All of these were awarded already, including the titles. Then we have also the EM's Barrio. This is also the part of the DNR project on free patent. All those applicants that are applying for their respective lots, they are occupying, are given a process wherein they are able to secure the title on that particular land. Then we have a housing area also of 1 only. So the sources, of course, our local government unit, again, the bond flotation. We have also this B-Care, the Bicol Calamity Resistance and Rehabilitation Effort. We partnered with the National Housing Authority. One of our projects here is the Pambansang Bagong Nayon. It's a local term which there are 3 phases that were already awarded to common clients. Then we have the national government subsidy. We have to propose, submit. Then we have the Poverty Alleviation Fund. And of course, this 20% allocation of socialized housing Tecton Village, which I will discuss in a little while. Next, please. Okay, this is one of the policies that we have instituted. For all we know, in most cases, there are those unscrupulous individuals or group of individuals that takes opportunity for our informal settlers. They get themselves awarded, then they sell the lot or the building that was awarded to them. But this time, because of this ordinance, they are no longer entitled to another the same kind of benefit from the local government unit if they are caught and confirmed that they have done these listed prohibited acts. They are not supposed to sell it. Although in 10-year time, because they will be owning the lot and building already, or whichever, they are entitled to sell it already. But within the period of 10 years, they cannot do that. Lest they will be blacklisted and they are no longer entitled to another kind of, the same kind of service from the local government unit. Next, please. Okay, this is now the story. The IF, from IFs to HOs. There are several areas, but we considered first the Philippine National Red Cross unutilized lands in this particular case. Next, please. So there is this Presidential Proclamation number 40 in 2001, which declared unutilized Philippine National Railways lands, unutilized lands to become the socialized housing sites. So we have identified several in Legazpi City. They've been staying for the last 60 years, and they cannot own these properties because of certain requirements and conditionalities of the national government unit. So we have a process that I will discuss later. So you will see how we did it in Legazpi City. Next, please. So this is one of the area, one of the pilot area, one of the villages, village number 33, Pinar Piñaranda, 3.1 hectares, 95 households, beneficiaries. The pilot project in this particular undertaking, which cost the city 3.3 million pesos. So again, these resolutions that were passed and the process of approval, I will still discuss later on. Next, please. Okay, another site, just adjoining the current. And there are still areas there that were already certified by the PNR management that they will no longer need it. So under the present dispensation, we created, the city created an urban poor affairs, which unit is under the city mayor's office, does all the legwork, the documentation, the coordination with all agencies in this regard. Next, please. Another location is in Barangay Village number 42, Rawis. You see, it's a linear development with 5.8 hectares, 246 households. The survey is still ongoing. It take a little while because some of the target beneficiaries are hard-headed that they do not want to cooperate. Next, please. This is true in all other locations. Another one is in Barangay Village number 46, San Joaquin, 2.419 hectares, 253 households. Another survey ongoing. Next, please. Another one is in Barangay Arimbay. These are all adjoining barangays towards the north of Legazpi City. Another 1.9 hectares, 124 households. Another status of ongoing survey. Next, please. Here is the process. This one I was talking about. I would like to emphasize on this. First is the preparation of the master list. This is in coordination with an accredited non-government organization. We institutionalized the accreditation so that partnering with the local government in the local governance is official. So we accredited this group called COPE, then the Legazpi City Islam Dwellers Federation Incorporated. This is the main group that attends to the concerns of the informal settlers in the local government. So they partner with us in all the undertakings in regards. Then we conducted dialogue. This is very necessary. The stakeholders conference with the concerned agencies in the government. And of course, very importantly, these non-government organizations. Then in our prodding, the provincial government of Albay, the governor, the provincial government of Albay, the city government of Legazpi, the Housing and Urban Development Coordinating Council, now the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the National Housing Authority, and we included the Commission on Human Rights in this regards. Then the two NGOs and other concerned civil society organizations. We do consultation and we required them to support the undertaking. So that resolution that was adopted by most of these organizations was adopted by the PNR management through a board resolution in 2003. They approved the call of the local government unit to let go those unutilized properties. Then the local government unit also after receiving the confirmation from the PNR, came out with the authority to the city mayor. The city mayor has to be authorized so that all transactions that we will enter into with the PNR management will be official and legal. So the mayor was authorized to purchase that portion of the PNR lot, abandoned and unutilized, which is we call the PNR, the Barangay Village number 33 a while ago. Then after that authority, the lot survey we followed next. The city allocated funds for the conduct of individual lot survey. So by the way, the city has been accredited by the Department of Housing and Urban Development as a city that can process its own subdivision. The applications for subdivisions in its area of responsibility. So again, then we came up with this preliminary approval and locational clearance. Modest aside, our city planning and development office assisted in the preparation of this plan together with the city engineering office and the city assessor's office for some documents. And this was submitted to the Sangguniang Panlunsod, being an accredited organization, for the approval of the plan, the PALC, and the subsequent submission to the land management survey of the environment and the Department of Environment and Natural Resources for its review and eventually approval. Then we start the disposition of the lots to the beneficiaries, the actual beneficiaries. That is based on the master list that was generated at the outset of the undertaking. So the city took care of the individual titling. So the recipients were only waiting and also participating in the redevelopment of their site. That's their counterpart. Then next is the execution of the contract, the buy and sell. And by the way, this contract has also been reviewed and approved by the Sangguniang Panlunsod, or the local Sangguniang, the local council, before it is let out to the partners, to the PNR. Then to the next step is the execution of contract of buy and sell with the recipients, beneficiaries. This is not for free. So the recipients under the contract are made to pay an amortization. They have a three-prong approach, which they can avail. The 5, 7, and the maximum is 10 years of payment. So they directly pay to the city treasurer's office, granting that everything is in order. The documentation are complete and enforceable. So that's how we did it in Legazpi City. Though there is an arrow that points to the next direction, but in some instances, we do parallel actions, not necessarily waiting for the one step to be completed first before another step will be undertaken, but we do some parallel moves in regards. Next, please. So the governance. This particular undertaking is being taken care of by the Urban Poor Affairs unit under the City Mayor's Office. So an ordinance was passed in particular, creating that office within the City Mayor's Office. So it's now composed of several individuals, permanent in nature, appointment in nature, to implement this ordinance. Then under that ordinance, we created the Urban Development Housing Board. This is the policy-making board body that oversees the operations of the Urban Poor Affairs, Urban Development Housing, Urban Poor Affairs Office. Sorry for stammering. We have provided also annual allocation for the purchase of lots. Again, this is the annual activity of purchasing vacant lots that are suitable for resettlement. Then we partner with civil society organizations, the non-government organizations. We again mentioned earlier that we institutionalize this. They are given 3 years accreditation, renewable, if they are doing good, if they are participating in the local governance. However, if we find out that they are not participating and they are just using their accreditation for their own benefit, then they are no longer entitled for another accreditation the next time. So again, another policy. Sorry, please go back. The policy on socialized housing counterpart. This very important undertaking that we do right now. There are developers here that do not have the socialized housing counterpart area within their subdivision plan, their own subdivision that is being developed. So the city has properties that they can utilize, but the condition is that they will turn over to the local government unit the total amount corresponding to the 20% allocation for the socialized housing. So the city now, after the turnover, does the development and implementation of their counterpart. This is required by the national law. We call it Batas Pambansa 220. So there are 2 areas already that have been benefiting from this partnership and policy. Okay, next. We have future plans. As you can see, the green lines on the map, these are the abandoned PNR lines that we would want within the urban center to have this kind of development. This is not only from the municipality of the neighboring municipality of Daraga, but further to the west, the municipality of Kamalig. If they would, and if they are the PNR management, will agree on this proposal of ours, we will push through on this. And matter of fact, this is already integrated in our medium-term, 3-year medium-term public-private investment plans and our annually revised or updated annual investment programs. So we want to implement this kind of development. Another one, which next please, which we are looking for a partner, is this climate resilient resettlement design. This is intended for a certain area within the urban center for a tenement housing development. So the features you can see in the slide. So this is a green building. We partnered with the United Architects of the Philippines local chapter and the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers local chapter in this regards. So this will be a self-contained community. One economic development that we are integrating is we call this fish yalan. Fish is the fish yalan is a local term for pasyalan, where people can go visit and do some livelihood undertakings. So this is a ambitious undertaking that we proposed to the community, the informal settlers. Before, they are very much against this kind of development, the tenement. All they want is a single unit, land unit that they will own by themselves. So because of the current situation now, they have seen what is happening in the city. The lots are within the urban center, the commercial lots are already the prices are already too high. So they have no option but to go on to accept this kind of development that we are proposing. And again, we are looking for partner developers to implement this undertaking, and we are willing to talk on the terms on this in this regard. So I believe this is the last slide in my presentation. So on behalf of our City Mayor, the Honorable Noel Irusal, we thank you, ICLEI, KAS, and KASpaces for this opportunity for us to share what we are doing in Legazpi City. And again, hopefully there will be some lessons that will be learned in the process. Thank you very much and good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you for your presentation. It's, I think, indeed the examples which you've shown. It's all the participants, I believe, must have learned a lot from here, and especially the planning process which you've explained. It really shows that how a comprehensive process should be followed. All the steps, engagement of stakeholders, finance, and all, they're really very important for any project to be successful. and also the examples which you showed about the disasters which have happened and how the city is planning to work upon that. I think that is also a great example to learn from. I would request, I think we're already getting questions in the chat box. I would request the participants, you can type in your questions, and in the interest of time, we would first complete the presentations, and then we'll have a round of discussions on the questions. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining. Now, I would request Mr. K.A. Jayaratne from Sri Lanka. He's the president from Sevantha Urban Resource Center.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning. Yeah. First of all, I would like to say I have no slides to share with you simply because I got a very, very short notice. So I, with my busy schedule, I'm volunteered to share my ideas. So this, the main topic is about the affordable housing. So when we say affordable, actually it should be affordable to the poor and the low-income people. At the same time, it should be affordable to the government also. So in housing for the poor, actually it should not be a physical structure for them to go and live, because the poor and the low-income people, mainly in urban areas, because of their livelihood. So in Sri Lanka, actually, we started a similar kind of housing program about 3-4 decades ago. And the learning is so much important to share with our regional participant, because we look at the housing as an entry point for the total development for the poor. It is not only the achievement of some promises by the government to give the people some complete house, but we in this process we get the people to involve in the whole total development program. And also, because of that, the housing will not be successful without integrating the socio-economic development aspect, and also it should be affordable and also the sustainable. In this case, I would like to share a few ideas. In Sri Lanka, actually, for example, like in Colombo city, if you look at the current situation, there's no how to call without housing. They have some sort of a housing, and our housing policy was to incremental approach. So therefore, one of the important thing right from the beginning in 80s, we had a sort of a pro-poor housing policy. And when we say the pro-poor housing policy, actually the kind of policy guidelines is very important. Or so some of the things in the urban housing program in Sri Lanka, one of the policy guidelines was to emphasize to keep the people, the maximum number of poor people within the city, and also if there's a relocation, that should be a minimum, and majority should be stay in the same location. And also it is not the provision of complete house, it is to provide the support to the community, and they can engage in the program, and they can improve their housing without losing their livelihood. Therefore, the government emphasis was to provide the maximum support, and the government intervention is mainly minimum. Intervention will come in terms of providing the security of tenure and the infrastructure, and also some financial assistance in terms of loans to build their own house. Another important policy point was that it is an incremental development process. You know, housing is not a complete unit. It should be an incremental process. And even the poor or the rich, they never stop. They are improving or building their houses. Always they are engaged in that. So we cannot provide one unit for all. They will be satisfied on this housing. Therefore, the incremental process was the very important point. And another thing in this housing policy package was emphasizing actually the 4 components. One is to provide the tenure security, that also the incremental way. We did, the citywide surveys, and also the approach is not to select a few settlements or selected settlements, but it is the citywide approach where we identify the settlements through a citywide survey, which settlements which can be upgraded on the same location or institute development, and what are the settlements which need a kind of a temporary upgrading package or facility. And thirdly, we identify the settlements which has to be relocated because these locations are not good for human habitation. So with this plan and the citywide approach, we started this program, and it is in this process, actually, we emphasize once you give the tenure security and also the infrastructure, you will see the dynamism of the people, because they are always in the process of building houses. With the security of tenure, they build the better housing. And at the same time, we discourage to give the common or public facilities, and even in slums we provide the individual facilities like individual water taps with the meters, individual toilet, electricity, like that. So these policy points were very important to build an affordable house. You see that if we have this policy within a country or within a city, the people can afford the housing, and also the government can afford, because there's no huge investment to build a high-rise building and to give the complete housing unit. So secondly, we can have a kind of a pro-poor housing policy, but it will not work if there's no political commitment. Political commitment to understand the pro-poor housing policy and also to support this process. And also, we can talk about the citywide housing policy, but in order to get the political support and also the community involvement, we have to have the right structure at the central level, city level, ward level, and also the community level. Like in Sri Lanka, in each community, we form a structure we call the Community Development Council. It is an elected body by the community, and they have a representative at the ward level and also the city level. When it comes to a city level, actually once a month the mayor was chairing, it's called the Housing and Community Development Committee, and where the people discuss their housing program and also the things I discussed within the policy. And at the same time, you can have a nice structure, but you must have a right methods, instruments, procedures, and systems to implement this. In case of Sri Lanka, we have developed, it's called community action planning methodology, where this is very similar to the Bhutan. They mention about the Sumdu approach, where the community get together and they prepare their plan, and then we submit it to the local government and also the central government agencies like Housing Authority to support it. Similarly, we need to have some the procedures also. That is, to community action planning is to prepare the plan and also to provide the infrastructure. We had the the methodology called the community construction method. And that is against the commercial contractual system, because normally central government is willing to give they like the larger programs. Even I work in other countries, I saw that they identify the small infrastructure and make it to big the package and give it to the commercial private contractor. So where you don't see the community involved in that process. And what we did, that system, we decentralized into the local or the community level. And the procedure was the community contracting system. So similarly, we had the number of methods, instrument, and other instrument was the community managed finance. The housing loans actually go through a community development fund or community housing fund, and they manage it. And finally, I would like to say, to make housing programs affordable to the people and also to the government, we should bring the people to the key positions to take decisions where, the people can make an influence. And we should not consider the people just as the recipient of housing. They should be the real actors of the housing. As I said in the beginning, that the government should play a very minimum role, but provide the maximum support. Their intervention should be minimum within that pro-poor housing policy. So this is what I would like to present today, and thank you very much for inviting me for this session.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining us and sharing how how Sri Lanka has basically involved community in such kind of projects for developing affordable housing projects, and the council which you mentioned, Community Development Council, and the methodology for involving the community really plays an important role for any successful implementation of any project. We really thank you, and we'll have few more questions for you once the session is completed. We request you to please continue with this session. Now I request the last speaker for this technical session, Mr. Ronel Descarga. He's Physical Planning Officer from State College of Applied Sciences and Technology from Philippines.
Hello, Mom. Good morning. It's good afternoon. Okay. I think I can share. Let me just share my screen. There. Okay. So, is my presentation, Mom, visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Yes, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. Again, I would like to thank ICLEI for inviting me again to at least we could share our support and our contribution to at least lessening the problems on housing sustainability. That is a common problem that the entire world is facing right now. So I would be discussing on how on our part, since I'm connected with the academic sectors as a college instructor for the Department of Architecture and also the Physical Planning Officer of our institution and the Urban Nexus focal person. So this will be our contribution on how we can help in providing sustainable housing development. So the topic will be on how the academic sector will be answering problems beyond urban decongestions. So it is known to us that climate change, it is a very wide and a global problem. So climate is seldom mistaken as weather. So these are the common misconception in terms of climate change. But climate is different from weather because it is measured over a long period of time, whereas the climate can change in a day-to-day basis. So just a very short, so the common problems that we encounter. So this is very critical in terms of how the degree of difference is being shown in a daily basis. The temperature rises or may fall significantly anytime. So we don't know if when will be the time of the drought, since this is the effect of the climate change. The drought period, the rainy period, the period wherein typhoons are entering the countries are not being detected anymore compared to those previous years, that there is a specific season wherein this typhoons, this drought season, this rainy season should be entering a specific area, especially in the Southeast Asia. So here's the question now. As part of the academic sector, what can we do? How can the academic sector help mitigate the effects of the climate change? How can we equip the mass with the technology to counter the effects of climate change? And how will the academic sector reach out? So this is the things that we always think about when we are doing research, proposals, and development inside the institutions on how we can give or expand the output of our researches and works so that it could help those people outside of the institution, meaning the community. So first of all, I would like to discuss on what is a state college and a state university. It is a government higher education institution that is mandated with the three functions. So we were given by the local government and by the law that made us into an institution with three core functions. So the core functions is, number one is to provide instruction, that is the typical one, conduct research, and provide extension services. So with this, by providing these three core functions, we can transfer technologies. Through instruction, we can create research. Through instruction also, we can create extensions, and same with research. Now, this extensions would lead to the transfer of technologies. So these are the things that we are developing inside the institution. This is our way of helping the community. Now, KASpaces and Nexus approach to an inclusive, climate change resilient, and sustainable housing to answer the call for low-cost, inclusive, and sustainable housing. This has been one of the aim of our institution, to provide assistance to the local government and other agencies that would be seeking help and assistance to our institution to help answer the call for low-cost, inclusive, and sustainable housing. So how do we reach out? So we reach out by this, through partnership and collaboration. So we have a partnership with ICLEI, IFC Edge, the Urban Nexus, which is a German NGO agency that is promoting sustainabilities. So we have different partnership and collaborations. So we also have partnership and collaborations through different colleges and universities. So in order for us to bring the technology to the different schools and universities that we think could be an asset or a tool to further expand the transfer of technology. The local government units, this is one of our mandates, is to have partnership and help the local government in answering whatever the predicament the community is facing. So we try to develop solutions and we recommend the solutions to the local government units. We have also the private sectors. So we have private agencies who are partnering with us using the technologies that we have created inside the institution to be used for their buildings. And also we use the professional industry. So what other, none other, aside from the other professions, the engineers and architects and other professions involved in the building industries are the ones who can really translate or who can really relate to the aim of the institution in providing a sustainable and inclusive housing. So through the partnership for the private sector, So BISCAS, or the Bicol State College of Applied Sciences and Technology, now on its way to becoming a state university, paving a way to become a smart, climate resilient, and green university. So we have a meso-level partnership with the Urban Nexus project. So the Urban Nexus project, this is a collaboration between BISCAS and the GIZ. It's a German agency. So according to the Urban Nexus, so it has these core functions wherein it is being utilized inside the institutions. So we provide instruction, extension, GASS or studies, and research. So the Nexus is in between all those core functions to have an integrated resource management in the system of planning inside the institution. So the Urban Nexus approach, this is divided into 3 cores. So specifically, the research, the extensions that are being done by the institutions revolves on these 3 core sectors. Number 1 is water, the water efficiency. Number 2 is energy efficiency. And number 3 is food or land security. So these are the main core themes of the different extensions and researches that are being done by the institution or the university. So with the partnership of the local government unit, so we are situated in Naga City, Camarines Sur. So as part of the contribution of the institution, the academic sector, BISCAS together with the local government unit of Naga City, and with the help of Urban Nexus and ICLEI, this paved way to the creation of a 30-year sustainable urban development plan for Naga City, which is up to now is being implemented. So this is one of the accomplishments that has been made together with the academic sector. And recently, we have also partnered with the local government unit of Pasakaw. It's one of the areas wherein there are a lot of fisher folks. If I'm not mistaken, this has been a place that wherein the survivor Philippines was located. So the Pasakaw is aiming to become the first green city of the South. So with the different researches, proposals pertaining to sustainability, sustainable development, we are helping Pasakaw on reaching its goal to become a green city of the South. So we are crafting strategy and innovation plus science and technology-based policies that incorporates the Urban Nexus approach that will be used or incorporated in their planning of their new land use development plans. So through instruction, we also try to deliver or to impart the knowledge that we gained from the Urban Nexus. So the Urban Nexus that promotes sustainability and alternative approach to housing through institutional program. We have the so-called energy and water in the built environment. So we involve our students. We train our students on the different energy and water management systems. So wherein they can bring what they learn from the institution through their own homes. We have them conduct a simple case studies and analysis on their water consumption, energy consumption, and we let them look into ways on how to solve the problem that they are encountering in terms of, let's say, water efficiency, the amount of energy consumption, how to lessen the water and energy consumption. So we allow our students to develop solutions that are available to them locally or in their own homes. So this is one of the aims of the institution, to not only bring the sustainable aspect to the community, but bring it down to the, let's say, we call this the molecular level, to the or lowest elements, which are the students that can become the future. They will become the future professionals who will be again will be transferring these technologies. So this will create a big ripple of effect. So we have partnership also with other academic institutions. Was I think it's 2 years ago that we had a partnership with King Mongkut University of Technology in Tunburi, wherein they visited. We had an exchange class, an exchange program, wherein the students coming from our institution visited King Mongkut University, and so are their students. So when they visited the Philippines, we showed them the local housing developments inside in the country. This is the Gawad Kalinga. It's a local housing development intended for the urban poors. So we have this design and resiliency competition wherein the students are partnered with the Filipino architecture students, Filipino engineering architecture students, to devise a way on how to make this low-cost housing to a more comfortable housing development. So the sustainable approach through research. So we are bounded by the Urban Nexus approach. So we research, we conduct research from the local government units, the private sectors, the community. We have this undergraduate thesis, the postgraduate thesis. We have a majority of those being BISCAST having the flagship of science and technology. We have different technology-based development for this problems that we are encountering, such as this housing inclusivity of housing developments. So now I will bring you to the main part of my presentation, which is the climate change resilient and pilot housing. So it is a low-cost housing technology which was introduced through the cooperation between GIZ, the integrated resource management in Asian cities. So this is a result of studying and research that can be now be transferred as a technology knowledge to partner LGUs, SUCs, private sectors, even to selected beneficiaries from the above mentioned partners. So we have several beneficiaries wherein we train the workers and laborers on the manufacturing of the different construction blocks that are used for the buildings, the technologies involving the rainwater harvesting system, the photovoltaic cell system, and even the leaching field system that is incorporated in the climate change resilient pilot housing. So the objectives of the CCRPH, there are 3 main objectives. Number 1 is the affordability. So this low-cost housing technology should enable low-income urban dwellers to acquire their homes of their own in order to improve their living conditions. Financially viable and technically sound, replicable technology solutions for housing. So the inclusivity part is being brought up into this in terms of the affordability. Climate change resilience. So with the name itself, it should withstand climate change hazards such as typhoons, flooding, as well as earthquake that frequently occurs in the country. The occupant should be safe in case of such hazards, having its supply of water and electricity, even if it is isolated from the grid source. So we have tested this building. I think it was last year that we were visited by 3 consecutive typhoons in less than 2 months. So this CCRPH building is the only building that has the power and water source that is running right after the typhoon. So there are several electrical lines that were cut off, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it took us 3 months for our area to recover from that 3 consecutive typhoons. So luckily we celebrated the Christmas with lights and Christmas lights on. Now the third main objective of CCRPH is the green building. So technology approach during the construction and operation that lessens the CO2 burden to the built and natural environment. So we are trying to satisfy the different the sustainable development goals, and also we are trying not to contribute anymore on the carbon emissions. This year we are aiming for our building to be again recognized and certified. We are conducting research and further development for this building for it to be considered as a carbon neutral building. So we are aiming for a carbon neutrality for the building. So this was what happened to us last year. I think it's last year or 2 years ago. Houses were destroyed. Debris are all over the streets. So, but the CCRPH was standing tall. This is the actual footage of the CCRPH right after the typhoon. So this is a 2-story row house for an urban environment. It has 72 square meters in total floor area. It can accommodate for up to from 4 to 5 persons. This is very viable for low-income earners. This is safe during floods and typhoons. With this descriptions and these elements incorporated with the CCRPH building, it has been granted with the highest rating from the Philippine Green Building Initiative with the Kamagong rating. So we have this green rating wherein Kamagong has the highest rating, and also this has been deemed under the rating for ITEC for the housing inclusivity. So low-cost housing building design system used in the CCRPH received accreditation of innovative technologies for housing. So this is the ITEC from the National Housing Authority. So this complied the requirements of the National Housing Authority to be part of the inclusive, low-cost, inclusive, sustainable housing. So these are the different features of the CCRPH. So it has an economic advantage due to row house design, a possibility of having this in a single line design. So it has less party walls. It has less land occupied compared to the single detached housings. It has easier access to municipal services from waste, energy, and water because of the compact nature of the design compared to the detached house. It has a reduction of waste materials and wastewater on the site that reach up to 30%. So right now, we are trying to reach up to 50% for this to achieve the carbon neutrality. Approximately, it has a 50% reduction of mortar due to the hollow concrete block, the HCB used for the concept of the closed bottom. A reduction of 40% of concrete and 30% of the steel works for the slab construction due to the HCB slab system. It is cool inside because of the natural ventilation, the natural cross ventilation throughout the building. It has a natural illumination, not only coming from the window. We followed the standard 10% openings for every building that is being constructed in the country. So it is also a roof lights coming from the skylights. It reduces electrical consumption for roughly over 25% through the use of photovoltaic system, water conservation via rainwater harvesting, and we reuse the purified, clarified wastewater for urban gardening.
Mr. Ronald, I'm really very sorry. May I request you to kindly finish the presentation soon?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are the different green features. I will be showing you a few slides now on what are inside the building. We have the skylights. We closely monitor the green technology inside the building. So we have the rainwater harvesting. This is the graph for the water consumption. So the gray area is for the utility, and The 48.70% is from the rainwater harvesting system. So this is our leaching field. That is for the urban garden. Now this is the cost. Again, if you want to have a copy of the costing, you can send me an email for this. So with the features of the CCRPH, it fulfills our institution goals to provide solution raised by the climate change through quality applied sciences and technology approach. So the responsibility in finding solutions to mitigate the effects of climate change during hazardous events has been given to the academic sector. So yeah, again, several pictures. So in this, what would be our aim? We want to disseminate the CCRPA technologies, the Urban Nexus approach. We want to support other colleges and institutions, disseminate the CCRPH technology to the different partners, existing and probable partners. We want to partner with other agencies, both international and local. So we want you to come and collaborate with us so we can enjoy what this world has to offer. So without compromising our future generations' right to do the same. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ronan. And it's indeed a great presentation. And the way you've shown that how you've been involved with different institutes to take this forward, that is a great learning for all of us. And I believe as we move forward, the presentations by both the speakers from Philippines, it is basically focused on how the natural disasters are affecting housing. And so the questions which we have for Mr. Joseph, he has already answered, I think, in the chat box. But as you mentioned, Mr. Joseph, that there are lots of floods, storm surge, and sea level rises. Would you like to detail out more about the initiatives which the government has taken? I believe you've also mentioned about climate change adaptation plans, which you have the government has developed. Would you like to explain this in little more detail? But for every speaker, we'll have just 2 minutes since we are falling short of time.
Okay, just a general statement. Okay, again, I just like to repeat that locally, although our comprehensive development and comprehensive land use plan were prepared earlier, but because of the requirement of the national government, we were able to prepare also the local disaster risk reduction management and disaster risk climate adaptation plans. Both plans now are integrated through an ordinance to the city's comprehensive development plan and is now being implemented. All developments, especially on this kind of development on housing, considers all these requirements that are integrated in the ordinance. So no development will be given clearance or permit that is being processed by the local government unit if they are not compliant with these requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And now the next question we have is for Mr. K.A. Jayaratne. Sir, you mentioned about the pro policies for community participation. So like while you were having it, while the project was being implemented in Sri Lanka. So we would like to know that while involving the community, were there any challenges which were faced? And if yes, how did you overcome them? What were the steps taken to manage those?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yes, sir, we can hear.
You know, one of the challenges, you know, our bureaucracy and the planning practices, right? They are not trained or used to get the people involved in this process. So in our process, we used to say that you have to unlearn and relearn. The unlearn means that you have learned is you have to forget some time, and also relearn means you have to learn again, you know, how to get the community involved, right? So this is a kind of a slogan we had when we were doing it. That is one way is the overcoming, and it was a challenge, but because of the political commitment and the support, if the politicians are also, understand and support it, then you normally know that the bureaucracy and the technocrat also follow the political or politicians' advice. So that's how we overcome. One of the things that there was a set of groups who had the bureaucracy and also the architects and planners who really believe in owner-driven community centers, participatory development process. So they are the one who convince the politicians. And when the politicians talk about the participatory process, then others also follow it. So that's one way of we overcome this the things. And also, obviously, when we are going to do this kind of things, there's a problem of resources, limitation of resources, especially like in the lands in the urban areas. But in terms of, I have this experience not only in Sri Lanka, but in other countries also. When you go to a city level approach, not only look at the 1 or 2 settlements, but you look at the whole, all the settlements, and also to find out the vacant land available for suitable for housing at the city level. You can find a lot of resources. And yeah, these are some kind of things. I know the time limitation, so I will stop at this moment, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think, yes, this is a great concept, unlearn and relearn. When you have to teach somebody, sometimes you need to explain them in detail that what they have learned, because it is very important to bring the concepts clear and implement on ground. Now, we have one last question for Mr. Ronald. Mr. Ronald, you mentioned about as a part of your work, you were giving some recommendations also to the cities based upon your analysis and the data which you had collected. If you could very briefly tell us about one city, how you did it, and what were the recommendations
Okay.
for this?
Including in the concept of Urban Nexus, this is what we call a sympathetic approach. This is a design approach that we use, wherein we try to go down to the lowest element of the city. So we conduct interviews, we track what do they want, what are their problems, and we try to bring them up to the local government unit. For the 30-year Sustainable Development Plan, this involves the transportation sector, wherein it's now mobilizing, wherein we are trying to create a rapid transportation inside the city, which is in a form of a multi-nuclear approach, wherein there is a single circulation inside the city and another circulation outside the city, connecting the different municipalities around Naga City. So the aim is to lessen the private vehicles coming inside the central business district, to lessen the carbon emissions, and to provide a more walkable environment inside the city. And also we have this program that is going around the Philippines, that when the pandemic hit, bicycle has been bought on every bicycle store. So the aim is to promote a city that is walkable and also bikeable. So we have this. It is an ongoing process. Actually, we are still conducting research about this, determining the saturation level, the rideability on the different transportation terminal. So if you have for our viewers and if you have the same plans, the same approaches that I think could be a big help for the city, we are very much welcome to have inputs coming from other cities that have incorporated the rapid mass transit inside their as part of their urban planning.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ronan. And I think it has indeed been a great session, and we really learned about the involvement of stakeholders, involvement of everybody to implement successful projects. And as we are falling short of time, may I request all the speakers to speakers of this session to please switch on the cameras for a last photograph. I think organizers would take the picture. Yeah. Now I would request my colleague, Ms. Soumya Chaturvedula, to please take on the next session. Over
Thank
to
you
you,
very
Soumya.
much. Thank you, Avantika.
Thank you.
A big thank you to all the panelists who've spoken so far. I think extremely informative discussions and viewpoints, and that is what we are hearing from all our participants as well. Moving on from the housing sector, I think now is the time to talk about holistic solid waste management in cities. I think cities in Southeast Asia, in South Asia and East Asia as well, solid waste management continues to remain one of the biggest challenges that local authorities tackle and are continuing to tackle. Also from a climate perspective, from a greenhouse gas emissions reduction perspective, the waste management sector, if not handled well, poses significant issues. At least in our part of the world, in South Asia, we are seeing significant impacts of poor solid waste management on stormwater management, on urban flooding, on water quality, on the menace of plastics in our waterways, and so on. I think these are ubiquitous issues and challenges. And so today we have an excellent panel with us. We have representatives coming in from Cambodia, from the national government, from Laos, and also from the city of Iloilo in Philippines, to talk to us about what it is that they are doing to tackle these challenges. We all know that this is going to be a challenge that is only ever increasing. For example, in South Asia, if we look at the World Bank report, I think this was the second version of the World Bank report on water waste, they indicated that South Asia, in 2016, I think it was about 340 odd million tons of waste generation, going up by 2 times until 2050. And for Southeast Asia and the East Asia and the Pacific, this was about, I think, 460 odd tons, going up to about 700 odd million tons per annum. So we are seeing increases of about 1.5 times the generation that we are seeing in 2016. We would see a 1.5 times increase by 2050. So this is a challenge that is not going anywhere. This is a challenge that our cities will need to take head on. And I think both from not just looking at end of pipe solutions, but the importance of looking at and tackling waste generation, looking at lifestyles, looking at behavior change, equally important as it is to tackle the legacy waste that we have and the incoming waste that just continues to grow. So I think we don't need to emphasize the importance of this sector anymore. And it would be my pleasure now to invite Ms. Soksawai Chochamchan, who is the founder of Zero Waste from Laos. Ma'am, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you here today, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Ms. Sumya, and thanks for having me in this forum. It's such a great honor to me to participate in this forum. So may I start to present what we are doing about zero waste Laos and what is happening about the waste in Vientiane and also in Laos. Next slide, please. Yeah, for today, I will give you a background of zero waste law and the vision and target and what we have done so far, the achievement during a year that we established zero waste law. Next slide, please. Yeah, for the factor of waste management, how can we make sustainable waste management, whether in Laos or in every country? So I think there are three areas that we need to consider. First is about the policy, the strategy, the regulation that the government have to set up. And the second is about the facility and the collection treatment facility and also the composting. And the last thing is also very important is about the awareness. So these are the three factor that is very important, and without one, it cannot make the waste management can sustainable. Yeah, next please. Next slide, please. Yeah, for zero waste law, when we just know about the waste management, then okay, what is zero waste law? For zero waste law is a useless organization which is founded by me. That is almost 2 years already that I start zero waste law as a volunteering group, and we focus in three areas. First is about awareness campaign, piloting project on waste management, and the second one is climate change and other issues as well that related to environment, and the third focus is youth development and gender. So we believe that is only awareness is not enough, and also what we can do is to build their capacity as well. So that's why one of the working area of our team is about youth development as well. Next slide, please. Yeah. So currently we are volunteering group that have been working a lot across the country, and as a volunteering group, but we have the vision that we will turn to be NPA or non-profit organization soon, and we aim to build the capacity of young people to be the change maker for cleaner environment, and also to be a sustainability leader in Laos. And our target is to establish role model of the school for improving waste management, and also waste separation, composting, and also stop burning garbage, because here in Laos, burning the garbage is very big issue and it's cause a lot of problem, air pollution, and also global warming. And next, our approach is bottom up. So what we try to do is we try to raise awareness from grassroots level to the policy maker, and also try to involve the private sector to collaborate with us to solve the problem. And also the target for us is to build a network among youth, among development partners to work together on this issue. Next slide, please. This is our team. So for our team, we are the young people that not more than 30, but we have done many programs, and now so far we have almost 70 people, and we are having more that we aim to have 30 members of the core team, and also 150 volunteers that we have in our team. And also over a year or almost 2 years, we have already more than 1,000 young people participate in our event or our activities. Next slide, please. Here is the program or the achievement that we have made during 2 years. We organize Clean Up Mekong River volunteering action, Me, My Body, My Planet, My Future, Clean, Green, Beautiful Vientiane, Safe Green, Clean South Laos. And also last year, we also have a Youth for SDG conference in in the Vientiane capital and also in another province of Southern Laos as well. And last month we had the event is called Youth Action in Climate Change. So most of the event we involve the young people. With the young people are our target to raise awareness and also to give them opportunity to learn more and explore about the issue, and also we have a seed fund for them to implement pilot project in their community as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the event that we organize. We have the first event of us, and with 300 participants, we have many partners, UNV, KOICA, JICA, KUSRO, and WeCom. Next slide, please. And also the next event that we organize, we aim to raise awareness and also have a discussion among the young people about the environmental issue, and also have clean up activity and have games. So all of the game or activity is full of the information that we want to raise. And this is the event that funded by UNFPA and also UN volunteer. Next slide, please. We also join the program or the activity of the Lao Fund. This is a government counterpart. It's called Green Beautiful Vientiane, which also have many high-ranking people, which is our booth, and also join our activity as well, and we raise awareness among the high school students. Next slide, please. And then we also have activity in Southern Laos. The program is called Safe Green Clean Southern Laos, with partner with Swiss Contact, Norwegian People Aid, and also Hotel and Restaurant Association in Southern Laos. We have 150 participants join our activity. Next slide, please. More than that, we also try to engage the community, and we organize home composting workshop at the temple, because we believe that Buddhism, they have high respect and go to the temple. So we think that if we train or we set the role model in the temple, maybe the community can learn and see, and also can replicate in their home. And this activity funded by UK Embassy, and also the collect waste recycling company is called Bhutan. Next slide, please. And yeah, we also join with private sector. Is the hydropower plant company in Laos. This is a big company in Khammouan province, and we demonstrate how to separate the waste and different type of waste, and also have composting as well. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah, because we always have the young people engaged in our program, and we have camping is called Zero Waste Lao camping with the support from Namturn company, and we have the activity is about the SDG, and also we engage them on waste awareness. Yeah, next slide, please. And yeah, this is our big event. This happened last year. We have almost 300 participants and more than 10 organizations support and partner with us. It's called Youth for SDG Lao. And we have the ambassador, we have the CEO, and even the vice minister. So I think this is quite great successful for us, because even we are volunteering group, but also we can gain attention from the different stakeholder. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is some of the activity in during the event. We try to have youth reader to make the presentation, and also have booth with many organizations participate, and also the case challenge that how youth will take further issue in their community. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is also used for SDG in Southern Laos, with also focus on the young people and also related to waste management. And we make a compost box there, and the young people participate in our program with more than 100 young people. Next slide, please. And lastly, we have the youth action in climate change, that we have many activity. We have drawing contest, we have case challenge, we have climate talk. We also have more than 10 organizations that join, and also we have the EU ambassador, UK ambassador, and even our minister also join. So yeah, this is quite great successful as well. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the good example or the good practice from our activity that we have tried to do beside the raising awareness. And we also try to have pilot project with waste separate in the school, or we call waste bank. The one is compost box, and because now, as I mentioned, there is a lot of burning garbage and also mixed with plastic, and we set up the waste bank. And also one of our partner is Norwegian People Aid, that after we start the project with them, you can see that the waste generation amount is reduced more than half from the previous. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, that is for the presentation from my side. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chan. I think very interesting to see the kind of involvement that you've managed. I think you started with a group of 20 people, and then you've managed to garner support from over many thousands of youth in Laos, in Vientiane, and the impact, I think, is basically the awareness that you're creating, and hopefully that would translate into behavioral change. It would translate into sustainable lifestyles and sustainable practices among the youth. I think that is one of the most potent and effective means of tackling this entire challenge. It would be very interesting to learn from you how you have been interacting with the official machinery, so with the city government, with the national government. So it would be very interesting to hear from you on this. If you could shine some light on that, that'd be useful.
Yeah, actually, Zero Waste Law, we start with just raising awareness through Facebook page and provide information, but later on we have one organization that contact us to organize something together, and the first event we have almost 300 young people, and it's quite difficult to get the amounts of these young people, and they see that the potential of Zero Waste Laos to mobilize, to involve young people. So and also now many organizations in Laos, that also the development partner, they also focus on the young people. So that's why we gain a lot of trust, and also they're willing to fund our activity. And also we always have them to involve, even they are not funding us, but they also have in-kind support. So when this is a kind of building the relationship or the partnership together. Even they are not fun, but for example, some activity or some event, they can be the judge, or they can be the speaker. This is also build the partnership category. And more than that, we gain the trust or the support from the government, is because most of the event we try to have them on board. So that not we are doing only the young people, individual or independent, but we have them as the chairman or chairperson or the keynote speaker, that they can see this is the movement of the young people and that they can support forward. Yeah, and this is how that all the young people, we can get the support from the development partner, we gain the touch from the government, and also more than that, the private sector as well. Yeah. So
right. Yes, the private sector, I think, extremely important, especially if we want to add impact, add scale to the kind of work that you're doing, and to show some effective action on ground. It's excellent, but yeah, I think one key word that you mentioned is the trust factor, and that I think has come from all the good work that you've done. So hearty congratulations for all the work you've done, and we look forward to following your story and see the impact and a lot of lessons for other cities as well. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll come back with more questions after, I think, the next two speakers. Thanks a lot. It is now my pleasure to invite Engineer Neil Ravena, who's the Assistant General Services Officer and the Chief of Solid Waste Management from the city of Iloilo in the Philippines. Engineer Ravena, it would be a pleasure to hear from you on all the excellent work that the city of Iloilo has been doing to tackle waste management, and to hear from you the lessons that you have for all of us. So the floor is yours. Over to you, please.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Miss Soumya. May I know if my mic is okay and my presentation is already in your screen?
Yes, it is visible and you're audible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and good day to all the participants. And I'm going to discuss the centralized sorting facility of Iloilo City, which is located in Visayas and the Philippines. So waste reclaimers as workers of centralized sorting facility. So next slide, please. In 2010, we have a controlled dump site in Iloilo City and hosts 260 waste speakers inside. A social component of the sanitary landfill was created to solve the problem of the waste speakers. So the JTSET, in coordination with the LGU, organized the group and created the concept that both the waste speakers and the residual waste should be looked upon as resource rather than a threat in solid waste management. So we grouped the waste speakers, and we managed to take the profile of each waste speakers, and then we asked them to cooperate with us so that the engineered sanitary landfill of Iloilo City will be constructed at their comfort. Next slide, please. So the group was organized and named as Oswald Kalahunan Livelihood Association, so OKLA. The city assigned staff to facilitate that group and will be registered as a legal organization. Agreed to be the material recovery facility workers instead of waste picking inside the sanitary landfill cell. So waste pickers, we renamed the group as from waste pickers to waste reclaimers. Next slide, please. So, but we experienced the pandemic during COVID-19 response, and the MRF operation stopped. And we try to operate again the material recovery facility since almost 4 months that the MRF operation stopped. The workers and the waste pickers don't have any assistance or doesn't have any work to do the for living. Next slide, please. So we tried to start it with the group of 15, but using personal protective equipment Next slide, please. However, we have also some challenges in the implementation of the sorting activity, because during the early stage of the pandemic response, the major challenge is the provision of the PPEs. Only health workers were given PPEs. So I told the mayor of the operation, and the mayor, the LGU with the initiative of the city mayor, hired dressmakers who are displaced because of the lockdowns, and private company donated raw materials to make PPEs. Next slide, please. So these are the PPEs, homemade PPEs of the dressmakers hired by the city mayor. Next slide, please. And also, we don't want that the workers inside will be affected by COVID-19. So we have a regular testing or the periodic testing of the employees and in all the stakeholders in the waste stream. Next slide, please. The solid waste management workers also were given the uniforms to be identified, and also we have distributed vitamins, and periodic testing also was conducted. Next slide, please. The garbage collection also, we required the garbage collector to have PPEs, and before getting the garbage, we need that all the garbage will be separated and it should be sanitized. Next slide, please. Even in markets, we are sanitizing the garbage in markets during heavy lockdowns, and many cases are being recorded. Next slide, please. We also distributed waste bin for special waste. So that's the reason why we painted the drums with yellow paints, so that all the quarantine facilities will have their separate collection system. Next slide, please. So we continued with the operation of the material recovery facility or the sorting facility. We managed to organize 15 of them, 15 of the waste pickers. They are the ones sorting. The city provided the facility, the infrastructure, and the equipments, the conveyor belts, the throw mill, and the shredder machines. Next slide, please. But with the minimum health protocols, we also put hand washing stations and sanitizing station for the waste pickers or the waste reclaimers. So these are the photographs of the waste reclaimers during sorting waste in our facility. Next slide, please. So this is the top view of the sorting facility. We have hopper machine, throw mill, and yes, we have the recyclables. This is what we get from the sorting facility: bottles, low density plastics, different kind of plastics. We have brass, transparent plastic, scrap lights, scrap solid. Means when we say Holcim, Holcim is a company, a cement company here in the Philippines, and they are getting our low density plastics. Next slide, please. So here are the products or the materials that we get from the material recovery facility. Next slide, please. Again, these are the materials from the sorting facility. Next slide, please. So this is the low density polyethylene materials. We have engaged with the cement company that they will get the low density plastics, and for a non-shredded low density plastic, they will get it in exchange of 10 sacks for unshredded, and for the shredded plastics, they will give us 20 sacks of cement in exchange of the shredded plastics. So this is also one of the recoveries in the sorting plant, and the waste pickers or the waste reclaimers in our sorting facility doesn't have salaries, but instead they are getting their own share on the sales of all the materials being recovered in the material recovery facility. Next slide, please. So after the shredding and the sorting, after the sorting, shredding, and then we have a baler. This was donated by the German Technical Corporation, or GTZ, and we are baling the plastics ready for hauling to the cement factory. Next slide, please. So we still have residuals and fines, 80% of which are organic. Next slide, please. So these are all organics, the woods and firewoods. Next slide, please. So these are the kitchen waste. Next slide, please. So we have also a monitoring report from February 2021 up to present. And you could see the earnings of the group of the waste reclaimers inside. So from the week February 9 to 12, 2021, they have an income of 11,041.50. So a lesser earning in February 15 to 19, and another in 7,000, only 7,589 last February 22 to 28. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, March. You can see during March, I think February, it was affected by the lockdowns of the quarantine status of Iloilo City. The reason why we have only lesser earnings for the group, but however, it recovered during March. We have a lot of earnings during March 1 to 5, which is 12,000, and bigger earnings during March 8 to 12, 2021 for about 18,665. 65, I mean. Next slide, please. Next slide. So these are the monitoring data for the earnings of each group in the material recovery facility. And upon reviewing and discussing with them, they could earn more than 250 pesos every day for each and every member of the waste reclaimers. Next slide, please. So same with the earnings. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes, and because of these earnings, they already have purchased a lot in Barangay Kalahunan, also in Iloilo City, and the group are planning to have their own building, which they could also have their own processing plant for the sorted materials coming from the centralized material recovery facility. So these are the group members of the waste pickers, formerly waste pickers, and they are the one working inside the material recovery facility. And the city of Iloilo is planning to expand the material recovery facility, because for now we have only the city of Iloilo is accepting 330 tons a day of waste and 130 trips a day. But however, the material recovery facility or the sorting plant could only accommodate 30 to 40 tons a day. So in relation to that, I think we need to expand the material recovery facility or the sorting facility, so that we could not only accommodate the tonnage of waste coming from the city, but however, we will also be accommodating some more waste reclaimers that could work inside the facility. So I think that's my sharing to the waste solid waste management of the city of Iloilo during the pandemic situation. Thank you, Ms. Sonia.
Thank you, Engineer Raven. Very, very interesting there. It was quite eye-opening to see how you managed to ramp up services to cater to all the COVID waste that was coming in, make use of the MRF facility that you already have, and also improve livelihoods and the way you've made the entire process in the MRF facility. And most interesting is to see that you have got the cement plants to actually pay you for the waste that you're giving them. I know at least in South Asia, this is a big challenge where the cement plants refuse to pay anything to the cities for the waste that they're giving them. And also the cities have to bear the entire transportation cost. So I assume that this relationship that you have with the cement plant, with the Holcim cement plant, is beneficial to your city. Is our understanding correct?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, we have a memorandum of agreement with the cement company, so that all the proceeds will go to the waste reclaimers rather than the city, because they are the one working inside the sorting facility, and the city wants them to have their own livelihood as an alternative livelihood of waste picking inside the sanitary landfill site.
Okay, very interesting. And the groups that you have shown, the group 1, group 2, group 3 that you've shown, are these fixed waste reclaimers who work there, or do you keep adding more people, and do you have do they come in turns, or are they fixed for a certain period of time? So how does that work?
They are working on shifts.
Okay.
On the first, second shift, and for the next day, another group for the first and second shift.
Okay, okay. But you don't add new people to these groups?
We add. Those are willing to work with us, and we actually profiling them on the basis of the skills, so that they could have their own work to do inside the sorting facility.
Right, right. Thank you very much for that. If there are further questions, we'll get back to you after the next presentation. Very informative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are very, very pleased to invite now Mr. Dek Vimyan Raksmi, who's the Deputy Director for Solid Waste Management Department in the Ministry of Environment, Government of Cambodia. Mr. Dek Vimyan Raksmi, a very warm welcome to you, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Please see my slide.
Yes, we see your slides and we can hear you well. Thank you.
Okay. So my name is Dek Vimyan Raksmi. I am a Ministry Director of Solid Waste Management Department in Cambodia. So this is my content of my presentation today. I would like to share you about the background of Cambodia related to solid waste management, and second is about the solid waste depots at the open dumping site, current priority for challenge in Cambodia, and existing regulation in Cambodia for solid waste management and the change of the livelihood in Phnom Penh, because Phnom Penh is a capital city of Cambodia, and the way forward for Ministry of Environment for continue for environment management. So the Cambodia is cover 181 square kilometers border with Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam. And the population in Cambodia around 16 million, and we divide into 25 provinces. The capital city of Cambodia is Phnom Penh city. The population in Phnom Penh city around 2 million people. And sorry, because of the rapid economic development together, we can see that the increase of infrastructure, economic population, and most of the people move to the capital city to finding the good job, and that's why the waste generate in Phnom Penh is the problem, and actually in the Cambodia we don't have any we can call sanitary landfill. We can call only control landfill and open dumping site. And related to the solid waste challenges, we can see that from the generate we don't have the no soft segregation and from the people and no proper packaging. And actually, the level of awareness of the waste producer is still limitation. Related to the collection and transportation, the collection system is not good in Cambodia right now with the private company, and limited of the practice collection, transportation, allocation of schedule, collective schedule. Actually, we did sometimes this of a traffic jam. So that's why the collection system is not good in Phnom Penh city. Recycling activity, we actually no recycling activity at the landfill, just recycling at by the non-government organization, and all recycling activities just informal, and we don't have any activity related to waste to energy plant. For disposal, we have only open dumping site, as I mentioned earlier. This waste flow in Phnom Penh. Actually, we can see that many source from generate the waste. We have if they have a waste collection service, we go to the landfill. But if they don't have a waste collection service, actually some people disposal like illegal disposal. This is a waste disposal at open dumping site in Cambodia. You can see that the increase of the waste generate and collect to the landfill increase every year. If you see that from 2010 until 2015, the increase of the amount of the waste around 50%. This open dumping site in Phnom Penh city, actually the first picture you can see that this we just prepare the open dumping site, and in 2009, but actually we plan that it is full in 2033, but right now it is almost full. Probably in 2022 or early 2023 it is full. That's why, because right now the waste generate in Phnom Penh city around 3,000 tons per day. You can see the diagram is increased every year. Related to the composition of the waste in Phnom Penh, you can see that organic waste almost 55%, and plastic waste is Second one is only 21% is for the waste composition. By the way, we have another activity for recycling waste, such as plastic recycling or paper recycling by the small business activities in Cambodia right now. And we have junk shop activity, and they are collect and export to another country. The composting activity also helps in Cambodia, but it's just doing by private company or by the non-government organization. Related to the current priority solid waste management challenges in Cambodia, actually we improper sorting and collecting in Cambodia, and the gap between policies and regulation. And third one, we lack of investment related to plastic infrastructure, because we don't have many companies in Cambodia for invest on the solid waste management. The limitation of the economic analysis related to the waste cost and solution, and we lack of limitation of technology and innovation for the waste management, and limitation of public awareness. If we're talking about the overview of existing regulation, in Cambodia we have one law, environmental protection and natural resource management. But related to the way we have a sub-degree, we have a few sub-degrees, but the sub-degree we have 113 in called municipal solid waste management that in 2015, but this sub-degree is the main sub-degree is decentralized the waste management from the national level to subnational level, and the sub-degree 168 they call plastic bag management. This this is sub-degree is we just sell plastic bag at the shopping center or supermarket, and we have another joint declaration between Ministry of Interior and Ministry of Environment. Thus, to we have so many problems in Cambodia right now related to solid waste management. Now we try to improve the solid waste management in Phnom Penh city, because of the waste generated in Phnom Penh city is around 3,000 tons per day. So right now we prepare a new system for the solid waste management, and the new system is implemented by the local government, and we prepare the new landfill, regional landfill. Yes. And then in Phnom Penh city, we not provide the license to one company to collect the waste in Phnom Penh. We provide the 3 zone and different private company to collect the waste in Phnom Penh city, and we prepare the 3 transfer station, and actually we prepare the solid waste management platform to estimate the local people to understand what is the new system in Cambodia, such as in Phnom Penh right now. In case right now we also prepare the new system for another province. This is the way forward for Cambodia to improve the solid waste management. So we will continue to implement the sub-degree 113 on municipal solid waste management. It is we try to explain and to convince to all subnational level to understand what is responsible of the waste management at the city level, and we will explain about the sub-degree 168 on waste management for another supermarket to understand what is the sub-degree, to understand and have to sell the sub-degree, sell the plastic bag at the counter. And we also promote the technical guideline on solid waste management. Actually, the skyline we established in 2018, but right now most of the people don't understand what is the technical line of solid waste management, and we need to find the technical assistant and landfill technology for improving waste management in Cambodia.
I think we have lost Mr. Deck. We will just wait for a minute to see if he can come back on. Okay, while we wait for Mr. Deck, there are a couple of questions, especially for the engineer from Ilo. If I may kindly ask, the questions are from Mr. Gary Pomeroy, where he wants to know what happens to the non-recyclable items, and how much do you identify, or what is the quantity of the non-recyclable items, and what happens to the non-recyclable items in Ilo. So if Engineer Ravena is with us still, if you could kindly ask the question, answer the question.
Yes, Ma'am Soumya. Only 30% of the incoming waste are being brought to the sorting facility, and some of the remaining materials or the residuals are being brought to the sanitary landfill. The reason why is the Iloilo City is now constructing another material recovery facility. This is to increase the the processing of waste, and also this is also to increase the workers inside the material recovery facility or the sorting facility of the city.
Okay, thank you for that, sir. There was another related question. This is related to the MRF. What are the protocols for segregation at source and for recycling of resources, especially while we consciously keep in mind the question of human dignity of waste reclaimers? So is Iloilo City doing anything on segregation at source and on recycling, or is everything being done by the waste reclaimers in the MRF facility?
No. Actually, in the Philippines, we have a law, the Republic Act 9003, that all the barangays in the Iloilo City should have their own material recovery facility. However, there are areas wherein material recovery facility is not possible because of lack of spaces, especially the 46 barangays within the downtown area or the central business district, and we could not process the waste on those barangays. So the reason why those trucks coming from that areas are not in the that is, they are unloading all the waste in the material recovery facility situated in the sanitary landfill in Barangay Kalahunan. And for the waste reclaimers or the waste pickers, we organize them, and the reason why the city of Iloilo assigned a social component for the construction of the sanitary landfill is for the reason that the waste pickers or the waste reclaimers should not be displaced and left behind of the construction. So the reason why there is a group that is facilitating all the documents so that they could also work hand in hand in the city and the sorting facility. And the reason why they have now acquired a property across the sanitary landfill, and the title of the lot will be given to them. We are now processing the titling of the lot, and they will have now their own office in the city of Iloilo.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent, sir. I think Yeah, a very good story there, especially on livelihoods and utilizing the expertise that this specific group has, and thereby, of course, ensuring dignity of work. Thank you very much for this example. Very heartening to note. I think we have Mr. Dek, who's joined us again. Sir, we had lost you for a bit there. If you would like to continue your presentation.
Almost done, sir. Actually, sorry for the electric cut or that's why internet is lost or internet. That's okay for me.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dek, for that very interesting presentation. It's heartening to see that the policy framework is in place in Cambodia, and it is now a question of initiating action, finding the resources to support action on ground, and to have detailed action plans on plastic waste management and so on, especially for the country and for the large cities in Cambodia. Thank you very much for that presentation. And yeah, I think these are the questions that we have so far from our audience and our participants. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the three of you again, and I would request you to kindly turn on your videos so we could have a session photograph, and then we could call this session to this particular session on waste management to a close. Thank you very much. Can I just say 1, 2, 3, and then we all smile and the organizers can take a picture. 1, 2, 3. I hope the organizers have captured that, and thank you very much for all your inputs and a very, very interesting session. Thank you all. Keshav, this is over to you now.
Thank you very much, Soumya, for moderating this session. And also thank you very much to all of our distinguished speakers, panelists, for sharing your perspective and ideas, and on the very, very important topic of two interesting topic of today's session. First is on affordable housing, and then on holistic waste management. Thank you very much again to all of our speakers from different countries. We really wanted to make it a regional Asia level, so that's why we had, you have seen, we had different speakers from different countries from across the region. So thank you very much again. Now we are into the open forum discussion. This is where the opportunity for all of our attendees and participants to share their feedback. If there's any questions or clarifications, or if there's anything further you want us to improve, or you want us to cover any other topic, or anything that you want to share your feedback, kindly share your thoughts. And there's an option called, there's a button called raise hand. You can click on raise hand and I will be very happy to unmute you so you can then speak. As far as there are a lot of questions regarding the presentations and the recording. If I can request everybody to visit the chat box. In the chat, we have provided the links to the Google Drive, where we have session-wise all the presentation uploaded. And then also we have given the YouTube link where you can download or access the recording of this webinar of today. On the same platform, you will also find the recording for the yesterday. You can please feel free to subscribe to the channel so you will continue to get the further updates. Now we have Ms. Saira. May I request you to kindly share your thoughts?
Hello, this is Saira from Delhi. I wanted to say that I found the presentations very interesting, different ideas, the work being done in different countries, were very informative and engaging. And yeah, thank you for organizing the session today. Thanks. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much, Sarah. We also have Ms. Nadisha. We have unmuted you. Can you kindly share your feedback?
Hello, am I audible enough?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. First of all, I'm from Sri Lanka, and I'm an undergraduate student of the University of Moratua, and currently I'm working with the Young Planners Forum. And I must say that, and I must appreciate all of your work, because this is a very important and interesting session for all of us as youngsters in this world, because I show that there are a lot of a lot of important and interesting topics have been discussed throughout this session. So those sessions are very much informative, and we can get a lot of things. What are the others' perceptions and perspectives towards the climate change adaptation and affordable housing? So this is a very informative and fruitful session. So I must thankful all the organization committee on behalf of these KASpaces, and all the participants and all of our keynote speakers, and the presentations that was amazing. And thank you very much, and keep it this good work to the next level. And thank you. That's my opinion.
Thank you very much, Nadisha, for your nice, wonderful words. And of course, we'll take it forward, and we'll continue to invite you for further sessions also. Please do join us tomorrow as well for the last third day of the webinar regional forum. We have another interesting sessions lined up for tomorrow as well. Two important sessions. First is on sustainable transport, and then on integrated urban water management. So these are the two important sessions again we have for tomorrow. We request all of our participants to join tomorrow as well. We have another delegate, Ms. Rachna Atri. May I request you to kindly share your feedback?
Hello, I'm Rachna. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. Yes.
I'm Rachna Atri from Institute for Social Action and Research. My concern is regarding the waste management and segregation at source. Deeply are we able to do it across the region? I know in Delhi, we have not been able to do it. Another thing is, while in Phnom Penh, they're not doing waste to energy. But again, recycling or upcycling waste has been a concern, and how to go about it. And is there any comparative being done by ICLEI? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. I think, Soumya, are you there? Can you respond?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question, Ms. Rachna. On the comparison, could you just elaborate the question? A comparison of what exactly?
Hello. Soumya, what I wanted to say was that segregation at source, where all has been a positive example. Has there been a case study which is, where by we have been able to do segregation at source across the region?
Right. Yes, I think, across the region, we have several examples. Of course, the best examples always come to us from, let us say, Japan, where it is 16 to 18 fractions. We have South Korea, where there is significant source segregation that keeps happening. But from our own, I think South Asia, where we are still developing our practices, there are cases in certain cities where source segregation has worked really well, but it has worked in pockets. So if we are looking for one city in the South Asia or Southeast Asia region, where across the city we can say there is 100% source segregation, I think we will struggle to find that a little bit. But there are pockets, there are wards, there are large areas of cities where source segregation works really well. So, but scaling it up at a city level is where the challenge exists. And I've heard you speak about Delhi. I think there are certain pockets of Delhi where this works, where especially the RWAs have taken significant interest, but across cities, not yet.
Yeah, thank you.
In addition to Soumya's point, I can just say we have provided the website details on the chat box. Kindly visit our website. You can subscribe to the newsletter, and we have a couple of projects on solid waste management and other in news articles. So, and we also produce some case studies and resource materials. So you can continue to access those by visiting our website. So I strongly encourage all of our participants to visit our websites, not just ICLEI South Asia, but also ICLEI Southeast Asia and KAS program as well. So if there is any other participant attendees who want to share their feedback or any questions or clarification, please feel free to do. You can click raise hand option and we will unmute you. I think there is no response, but okay, so we have Mr. Manuel. Okay, let me unmute him. Yes, sir. You can speak now.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Yes.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Yes. Yes. Here is Sakur speaking from Kilimani Municipality in Mozambique. I've got a question. I'm actually doing a course on solid waste management. I'd like to know if our municipality, for instance, want to create cooperation line with your organization, how do you guys have maybe any suggestion? Do you got any link or process or any advice? I'll be really grateful for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your interest, for collaboration and partnership. We have, like I said, we have provided the links for our website. Please visit those websites, and you will also find the contact details there, email IDs. It will be really great if you can send us a brief email on what kind of collaboration, partnership, on which areas you are looking for. We will be very happy to respond back and take it the conversation forward. We also have Dr. Shamya. I have unmuted you. Kindly share your opinion, feedback.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm listening your program and very carefully to. It's a very great work to manage the solid waste management. I belong from Pakistan and biggest city of Pakistan, Karachi. The solid waste management is also big issue in Pakistan. So for that issue, we are conduct the start of this year one international conference to how can manage the solid waste problem. So your session gave me some very important guidance. How can in future plan to collaborate for the this project with you, and how can help you, because we are the team of environmentalists and microbiologists. I'm also working the solid waste management and sewerage water treatment processes.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am, for your nice words. And of course, we will definitely we request you again to visit our website and do shoot an email to us on how we can support you, how we can collaborate, work with you, and we will be very
And
happy to.
kindly share your presentation talk in video recording.
Yes, ma'am. It's there in the chat box. Just visit the link. We have provided all the links of the recording and as well as the drive link where you can access all the presentations.
And kindly, the different project we collaborate to each other to the management of solid waste issues in different countries.
Sure. We will get back to you, ma'am, over the email. We will send an email to you, and then from there we can take it forward. Okay. So with that, I think that's all for now because we are already very late over time. So just without further delay, may I now request Ms. Megha Sharma to kindly share her closing remarks. And thank you, Noor. Thank you. Over to you, Megha.
Thank you, Keshav. Firstly, a big thank you to all of you all. I see that we are still 117 participants. It's a big thing for our webinar, especially on the second day. Thank you so much for staying since morning and listening to all the conversations. I really believe what the keynote speaker said, that everybody has to be involved. And this is what this KASpaces about. KASpaces is about getting everyone to talk about the problems, because not any problem cannot be just solved with the top level. We need to have the input of everyone. So we are really grateful to ICLAI South Asia and Southeast Asia for their partnership and for implementing this wonderful event. And this is, as I said in the beginning, this is just the 11th webinar, because we already had 10 national webinars. This is the culmination of all the 10 webinars. So we are really very happy and grateful to ICLAI, and also grateful to all the participants and speakers for sharing their thoughts, not only in the national webinars, but also today, yesterday and today. And we are looking forward to tomorrow. But talking about KASpaces, I would also like to take this opportunity to share with you that we also have another project line under KASpaces, which is focusing on education. And we are having a similar roundtable next week. So I'll be sharing the link in the chat box. I hope that you all can join us. It's about education. But although it is not a topic which might be concerned to you, but it is, we are inviting policymakers, students. As you said, there was a lot of talk about young people being involved. So I hope that you could share this with the young people. And ICLAI and KAS will continue this partnership for next year as well. And we hope that you all keep joining us, because for us, the aim is not to just have a webinar and to get the best practices, but also to make an impact. And we really believe that through this webinar today, and hopefully, and also through the roundtable next week, we will be able to make an impact, because we are getting the best practices of the region together. So please continue supporting us, and thank you so much for your support all this while. This is possible thanks to you, because of your participation, because of your joining us, sharing your experiences. So let not this be the end, but a beginning of a partnership which continues for years, and let's make an impact, and let's see that we can be a change maker. So again, I invite you for tomorrow's last day of dialogue. I think Keshav has a very interesting panel lined up, and thank you, Keshav, for all your hard work. Thank you to the entire team. Sorry, I don't recall all the names, but Soumya and Avantika and Chris and Pamela. Sorry if I missed out any names. And of course, Imani and Victorino. Thank you so much for all your support. ICLAI and KAS partnership is a really thing. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Megha, for your nice words. And then also we appreciate and thank also to Mr. Christian Ashley, the Director of Program, and also Ms. Megha for your excellent guidance and overall support. On behalf of all the organizers, again, I would like to thank all the participants and speakers from different countries. And again, I would like to request you to kindly join tomorrow morning sharp 10 o'clock Bangkok time for another third day of the regional forum, last day of the forum. We'll have interesting sessions again tomorrow as well. And we have shared again the link of slides and recording in the chat. You please feel free to access from there. And with that, I think thank you very much, and we look forward to see you again tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Keshav, I'll stay back to talk to you.
Yes.
Thank you. Keshav, I think you can also end it and then we can talk over the phone.
Yeah, sure. I will call you. Sure. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.